Faith with Heather Murdock.
Welcome back to Love, Hope, and Faith. I'm Heather Murdock, and today my guest is Jana Flaig. And Jana, you're a movie star now. I guess I should be asking for your autograph.
Well, I always say, no. It's,
Well, you are in a movie that's going to be coming, what's the date?
Christian movie.
Yeah, it's a Christian movie. But what's the premiere date?
It's premiering in Lodi, California, September 19th.
Yes.
But the movie is touring the United States.
And it's called Nail 32. Tell me how they got that title.
Well, this is a true story based on the cowboy who started the original cowboy church in the 70s. He was rebuffed by the established conservative church, and so he started a church in a bar. And today we have over 1,600 cowboy or country churches.
Yes.
And this is a man's movie. It's a rodeo movie, and it is starring the
We'll go ahead and show this visual here.
The young men that are the rodeo they are truly rodeo champions who are acting for the first time.
That's great.
And it's quite an action movie. But Nail 32, it's my understanding, it takes 32 nails to shoe a horse.
Okay.
And one at a time, and each nail is important. So it's the idea that this cowboy made a difference for the kingdom, saving one cowboy at a time.
Amen. I love that.
And how that grew. So that's the title, Nail 32. But it's a live-action rodeo cowboy movie, through events in his life and on the rodeo circuit, he decides to become a Christian, and how
God uses that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can understand, the conservative church. I can understand being a little concerned about having a church in a bar. However, God meets people wherever they are.
That's right.
And many people don't come into church because of the preconceived ideas they have. And so we are called to bring the church to people. So I think that's great. In fact, we have a great cowboy church up here in Amador County in Fiddletown. Yeah, so that's wonderful. So you meet the director of the movie at your church at Bear Creek on the day that you decided not to go to church.
Right.
Last minute you get your booty there.
Yeah.
And you meet this man, and what happened next?
Well, he asked me if I'd be interested in being in a movie, and as I mentioned briefly before the break, that inside all those fears were coming up. I'm not an actress. I don't have training. I don't have drama lessons. And so forth. I'm older and so forth. I'm grown up, but he said no. He contacted me a few weeks later, and by email, and he said, I have a role for you in this movie coming up, and he says, I think you'd be a great match for it. And he said that the character is Bertha, and she's the head of the women's ministry in church. She directs the choir, and she's the older lady busybody.
That's right. Michael, you're going to kill me here, but can we get another shot of this? Because this is a great picture, and this is a character that you actually created on your own.
Yes.
And you actually went to the thrift stores, right? And got her.
Sure. I went to, with the independent, Christian films. This is not a multi-million-dollar budget like in Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is a $100,000 budget.
Right.
And so people do several jobs, and people, they all wear different hats, for. Doing this for the Christian media. And so I went to 12 different thrift stores in the area looking for 70 era dresses.
Yeah.
And the big thing was the hair, because my hair is contemporary.
Right.
And
I love that wig.
Yeah,
that's an
I know.
awesome wig.
It just makes the character.
Yeah.
Well, even that was a God story. I kept if I had to fight fear along the way, thinking, oh, what am I doing? I don't know what to do and how she should look. But I went to a friend of mine at the Wig Palace in Lodi and asked for, I was looking for a wig like this, and all she had was contemporary styles. So I went home, and she called me on the phone. She said, you won't believe this. 3 minutes after you left, a family came in. An older lady and their family died, and they brought in her 70s wig.
Oh, my gosh.
And she said, it's big and curly.
It's perfect.
And if you want it, you can have it.
Amen.
And
That's
it
great.
Screams Bertha.
It does. It really
and
does.
so I just felt every step along the way, when I kept wanting to back out, God kept saying, no, you're Bertha, you're Bertha.
Yeah.
And even Jason would email and say, no, I know God's all over you.
Because you had
for
some
this.
doubts. It's just something out of your comfort zone.
I did.
You know, you're a speaker
Stepping out
and
of the
you're a
comfort
comedian.
zone.
You're very
Right.
funny, and so you're very comfortable in front of
Right.
people, and it's what you do.
Right.
But this is a different genre in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it was totally. You know, I can understand why you would have thought, really, Lord,
Yeah.
like, is this something? Is this of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, show up at the set and be the novice that bombs and
Ruins the movie.
I want to be part of the solution and not
Yeah.
the problem.
Right.
And I was told, do your preparation. And I thought, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So I Googled, how to behave on a movie set.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did, because it said, don't talk to the other actors when they're in character. Don't ask them to practice. Don't talk to the director. When it's your turn and they say roll them, action, you have to be your character. So along with a lot of prayer,
Yeah.
What is this gal like? I also Googled how to get a Texas accent quick.
Yeah. Oh, so you had to have an accent.
Yeah,
That's right.
because and that dawned on me. Wait a minute, this is a Texas movie, and I've got to not have a L.A. California accent, and so I tried my best. I apologize to the entire state of Texas if it comes out some other southern state, but this was all preparation, and every step along the way, I had my doubts, thinking, what am I doing? But I believed that God, put me there. And I remembered that prayer, Lord, stretch me. And boy, if that wasn't a stretch, and
I love that, because at any age,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old you are or whatever, but I know, at any age we can have fear about, am I right for this?
Right.
Is this what God has for
Right.
me? And as we get older, we begin to fear, time's running out or whatever it may be. And so just to be bold in any phase in your life.
Right.
And
then now, I haven't seen the movie yet, of being afraid. I hope I don't embarrass myself. If that's true, I hope I'm totally unrecognizable when I go tour and promote the movie. But at the same time, you know what? It's got to be fun and got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Exactly.
And I know God has a plan. And I have to say, it's not about now I have a movie career. No, it's about what is he going to do with this as I tour churches, meet other people, and meet other women, and head of women's ministries and so forth. And that's the exciting part of being a little bit more mature, is that now I can look back at my life and I can see how God opened and closed doors. But at the time, a lot of times I let fear deter me, or I thought if a door closed, it was my failure. Why did that job end, or that gig end, or I didn't get that engagement? Now it's so much easier to see, no, God was directing my steps, and so it's easier for me to trust because I have that experience.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And just because God calls us to something and his plan meets our faith and we step out, right? And we know that we're in God's plan, doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of examples in the Bible.
Right.
Look at in the book of, I'm actually reading from the book of Nehemiah right now, when he was building the wall around Jerusalem. And that he was called to that, he was anointed for that, he had the resources to get it done, but it was still hard.
Right.
And so we can't let that hardness discourage us, and think, well, this must not be God's plan then.
Right. And I think that's a good point. It doesn't mean that we're going to succeed and we're going to be a hero.
Exactly.
And everyone's going to say, wow, wonderful job.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be that I learn a hard lesson with whatever I do.
Exactly.
And I say, gee, now I've learned, not to book an airline flight at night, because when it's canceled, you're stranded in the airport.
Exactly.
You learn things along the way. So instead of it being a terrible shame or disaster, it could be that experience was a lesson for me.
Yes.
So, and there's great value in that, too.
I think as long as we keep the attitude of a student in our life, God's student,
a student and a servant.
Exactly, and that every step is an opportunity to learn something new about God, about ourselves, about what He wants us to do in our lives.
Right.
Then we're going to be okay. It's all about our attitude, and continuing to seek Him. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So then you get on the set, and what was it what you expected?
Well, again, I'm thankful that I Googled how to behave, so I wasn't picking up equipment I shouldn't have put my hands on and that kind of thing, and it was great. This is JC Films, and it is a great Christian company. They often use the same 40 people and the crew and many of the cast members and so forth, and so everyone is very respectful and loving and upbeat and so forth. But all business, all professional.
That's right.
And everyone has a job to do. They know their job and they do their job, and yet it becomes it becomes a family.
Absolutely.
And these films are they couldn't be filmed and produced without the help of the community and the church community that comes together and provides meals and transportation, and they're the extras in the scenes and
you really are a
volunteer to
servant.
help.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I mean, if you look around right now, even in the big screen, there's a lot of Christian movies on right now, and then there's all kinds of little projects or smaller projects like this happening. So what do you think God's up to?
Well, he is moving, isn't he?
He is.
And I believe that other Christians like myself and my husband Frank, that we're movie people. We watch movies every night, DVDs, and we long for good, clean movies that aren't evil, that aren't violent, and that have a good solid Christian message to it, and has humor and so forth. And so I'm delighted to see that God is moving with Christian media.
Yeah.
That when we watch a movie with sight and sound and music, it touches our heart, touches our emotions.
Yes.
And
It leaves
movies,
an impression.
it does. And movies can have a lasting effect, and movies are a great way. Have a movie night at church and bring in the unchurched. They won't come to Sunday service, but they'll come for movie night and snacks.
Exactly.
And so
non-threatening.
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it is it is a great ministry.
It is, absolutely. I really feel, media is one of the most powerful influences
It
in our
is,
culture.
yeah.
And I really see that God is really using it for His glory. God's sovereign over all things, and He's really using the media right now, especially, it seems like, for His glory, to speak His message. It's really awesome to see what He's doing here. Good. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to hear more about what you've learned, and God, I want to hear more about when you said to God, if this is not your will or your plan for me, then change my plans, and what happened in that moment. So when we come back in about 3 minutes, we'll hear more from Jana. Please do stay tuned.